like do 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 like do 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 crazy oh 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 crazy oh 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 crazy crazy oh oh crazy oh 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 crazy do 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 crazy do 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 crazy do 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 crazy do 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 crazy crazy do do like do 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 like do 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 crazy oh do do like do 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 like do 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 crazy oh
Ladies, gentlemen, and everyone in that wonderful Technicolor rainbow in between, welcome to tonight's coverage of the Titan Esports Vanquisher League. I am What Too Pretty, and unfortunately, Sater is out resting his voice after a hard week of work. So tonight, we have a lovely new guest here, 74. How you doing tonight, 74?
I'm doing fantastic, Brady. How you doing?
I'm feeling great. I'm excited for another week here in the Vanquisher League. Tonight's matchup, as you can see at the bottom of your screen, is going to be Infamous versus XSVW, one of my least favorite names in the entire league because their tri-code is more syllables than their actual name itself. Excessive Wrath.
Look, at the end of the day, you nailed it. The first try, zero effort. You got it. I am super excited for what's about to happen. I'm already, I'm sensing a spicy draft upcoming. I'm sensing some strong picks, maybe some takeaways. I'm hoping we're going to get at least 3 games. I don't want a quick 2-0. I don't want stomps. I want bloody League of Legends.
That's all we can hope for. And this season has been a pretty exciting one so far over the course of Vanquisher. We're starting to round out towards the end of the season. Teams are starting to solidify their places in the standings. But I think both of these teams are still potentially fighting for a playoff spot, still looking to finalize their place in the standings and still looking for that shot at playing in the playoffs. So this is an important matchup for both of these teams. But the fantastic thing about bloody games like this of League of Legends, the nice thing is, I mention it every week, but I'm just so happy. We have Fearless Draft, and we are going to continue to have Fearless Draft throughout the entirety of the season, including into the playoffs. So that means, hey, we won't be seeing Ambessa Cassante every other game. We're not going to be seeing every game first pick Callista or whoever the strongest AD carry is. We get to have a little bit more fun with it. It's great.
Yeah, there were so many years, back to back to back across all regions, finals, whatever playoff series you're in. It just maybe even goes to 5 games. You're like, wow, this top laner has played. Oh, Impact has played Cassante 4 out of 5 of these games somehow. Crazy. So I am super happy that Fearless has made its way across the leagues and that we get a little more diversity in our picks.
Yeah, and now we get to jump straight into that game 1 draft. Already jumping into ban number 1, Excessive Wrath on the blue side with Infamous on the red. Excessive Wrath are going to take away that Twitch first, targeting that Worm Jones champion pool. Not the top lane Worm Jones, the bottom lane one, as Infamous, in their absolute spite of casters everywhere, have decided, yeah, let's just have 2 players with the exact same name. Why not?
Yeah, rather than give Chaos his B1, because XSVW is blue side this game. Last week they did pick the Varus B1. They're going to take that off the pool. And yeah, I think 3 Worm Jones technically possible, right? Between the sub, because it's not Xixing down there. There's Worm Jones support, the Nami player, and then also the Ilios player. Worm Jones, Cole, the AD carry, and Worm Jones top. Oh no, we have Xixing right here. So yeah, it's only 2
Xixing will be in this week. Okay. Blessedly, we're not dealing with 3, just the 2. Yeah. But I have to imagine that Infamous is eventually just going to try and collect the Infinity Stone Gauntlet of 5 Worm Jones and just make it a hell to cast any sort of a team fight. But it is going to be a lot of bottom lane focus in the bans so far with the Twitch, the Corki, and the Varus off the board. We do see Excessive Wrath picking what is arguably the strongest first pick right now, Skarner, going to be taken off the board, targeted towards Rigor Mortis, but also just it's a strong pick overall. It's not shocking to see them take it first.
Yeah, no. So that was their game 3 last week. Zenk got his Skarner. They lost game 1 on not necessarily what I would consider their comfort picks. I'm just only now familiarized with their team. Hey, we're gonna try to hear. We're gonna try to hear again, and it's also a takeaway.
Yep, we've also got the Vi and the Ashe on the other side of the board. Just a decent jungle AD carry combo. Ashe gets to set up Vi for a lot of extra crowd control, which means that the combo is crazy strong between the 2 of them. And the Jinx pick has me a little worried for that, actually, because Ashe and Vi love targeting squishies, but if you give her a free cleanse, maybe that's enough.
Yeah, there was, it was the same thing last week. One of these teams, like I said, I'm only an hour familiarized myself with these rosters, these teams, these OP.GGs, these last week matches, but one of these teams faced an enemy, I think it was INF, that faced a B1 Ashe, and they answered it with an R4 Milio after their support, the 3rd Worm Jones, a Yumi, and a Lulu ban. So they decided to pair the Milio with the Twitch, which is why it was banned here. Milio is good to cleanse the Ashe. CC and then extend the range of the Twitch for his ult. So I think these guys did their homework. INF's opting for a pick comp, and clearly XSBW is opting for a more standard front-to-back, holistic teamfight approach.
Yeah, I think they definitely want to try and find some 5v5 brawls, give Jinx her resets in these team fights. We are seeing that Riven ban taken away from Zankara. We've seen Zankara here, I think, on the stream at least once before. We know that they play a lot of Riven, so seeing that banned away is not too shocking. What's surprising to me is Excessive Wrath also banning away a lot of top laners, which means that Infamous just get their pick of the litter of supports, and Ashe Braum is very, very strong in a 2v2.
At the end of the day, though, Braum is, people like to pick this as an engaged if they really don't fully understand the champion, but it is a disengaged champion, and so Milio is going to not let him even possibly get close to his Jinx. The Braum has to walk up physically, and then the Milio could just Q him. So it's a very difficult overall, but it's going to be more of a hands, let's see how it plays out in the hands game. I'm liking the Tryndamere ban, which makes me think that they were, no, but if they're going to go Renekton on B5, then I don't necessarily think you need to immediately ban the Tryndamere, as it's winning early, but of course, you know, post 2 items does outscale slowly.
As Tryndamere does, it is going to be the Garen encounter to that Renekton in the top side. So a couple of meatballs hitting each other up there in the top side. We are still on patch 25.1.4, so lane swaps have not been murdered, taken out back, and shot like old Yeller yet. So still a potential, but I'm not sure if we would see it in this particular game with the Ashe Braum and with the Renekton Garen matchups being, I would say, fairly even across the board.
I also, you know, it depends if he goes Conquer or if he goes Phase Rush with the Garen. It really depends on what rune that is and how he's going to play the trade patterns. But overall, I'm not also super interested in the Riven ban. With Pop, like, it seems both of these teams don't heavily play Poppy for either blind K'Sante picks or this Riven. If they're going to blind it, I don't necessarily think. Anyway, regardless, digressing. I rather prefer XSBW's team comp here versus INF's. It's a lot more difficult to execute on the red side versus the blue side. Honestly, XSBW only has to play front to back and just let INF essentially outplay themselves. So I would give this to XSBW just from draft.
Yeah. You've got Jinx Hui in the back, just launching artillery in terms of rockets and spells with a Renekton and a Skarner in front of them just to make life very easy. There is a lot of dive for Infamous. I think between Braum, Ahri, and Vi, there is a potential for the AD carry to be in trouble, but if XSVW can...
You're opting for a very highly indexed early game. Conquer does out damage Phase Rush, of course, early. Phase Rush is a scaling rune for how you want to play it later in the game. You combo with Garen's passive, but it looks like we have a level 1 invade going here.
Yeah, it was spotted out. The early ward was taken out thanks to the sweeper from Kraydog, not Keishing the support for Infamous. So they do have a substitute, and it is going to be traded for Vision on that top side Raptor camp. So far, just a decent trade of information. I like the aggression from Infamous. You have a very good level 1 combo with the Ashe Braum, and Vi and Ahri can follow up very easily. So if you catch someone lacking, very easily you just grant yourself the first blood, but didn't happen this time around.
100%. However, I wish we could you possibly click on the Ahri? I want to see if, of course, she's not going to scale early, but if she took E, that would be hilarious if they indexed super heavily into the invade and it just didn't pan out.
It is always better to save that skill point until you absolutely need it. And, you know, especially like level 1s, you want to save that skill point for as long as humanly possible. As Loki did opt to grab the W, that Foxfire first, which seems to be the normal Ahri level 1. I remember back in my day, it used to be Q level 1, E level 2, and you have max QEW, but the times have changed. The game has become a little bit more sophisticated than just, oh, I use this ability for all my CC, so obviously I should max it second.
Yeah, well, especially with buffed electrocute, and the way that REW works with RE auto, you proc it every cooldown super easily as long as you are in range to auto attack and electrocute and W is up. So it's the standard stock standard RE level 1 skill. But the reason why I wanted to call out the Conqueror versus Phase Rush is, like I said, without taking TP and not taking Phase Rush, he has heavily indexed towards the early game. Conqueror with E very heavily out trades Renekton and gets you Prio. So which means I think they might be trying to play for Grubs here, for the Vi to play with their top laner. But they also have choices to go bot lane or mid with the hard CC and walk down from the Braum or the Ari Charm.
Yeah, we are already seeing that top lane pressure come up in a decent CS lead for Worm Jones up there on the Garen. Just about 8 in his favor, so about a wave and a half. And I imagine as the levels continue, even going towards level 6, this pressure is just going to continue because Garen with Ignite is always just a threat of, hey, if I land a Q on you and you get low enough, you could just die as Sankara gets even lower. Thankfully, Renekton with the Doran Shield and what I imagine is going to be second wind should be able to sustain back up, but it's going to take some time. And Worm Jones, I think, is just looking for that kill.
Yeah, no, Renekton definitely with TP and on especially even a cleaver spike and then into the second item spike of Sterix, the stock standard team fighting build for Renekton. Hold on, we got a gank coming in.
Yeah, Hunter Wolf is going to get on top of Worm Jones. I don't know if they're happy to take this trade, though. These minions are doing quite a bit of damage. Grass proc is going to keep Hunter Wolf sustained, and Worm Jones will be forced to lose that flash. Might end up having to stay in lane, but without TP, if you back here, you're going to end up losing a lot of the lead that you just had for yourself.
Exactly. He did not get the crash fully and was punished for it. He opted for trading more so than the wave management and was punished by the jungler for it. Either he did not anticipate the Skarner would be pathing towards him, or he did not plan for it, and now he's going to lose a significant chunk of experience because no TP.
Yeah, it also allows Zankara to clean up the rest of that wave, get some XP back in their pocket, get some gold back in their pocket, more importantly, and a bunch of this wave is going to die to turret. Worm Jones will be able to pick up at least half of it, so it's not like Zankara is totally bailed out and suddenly Worm Jones is in a massive amount of trouble, but it's certainly not the leading position that he was in just about a minute ago.
Yeah, no, for sure. But he is definitely flashless now, and if they're roaming.
Well, speaking of flashless, Rigor Mortis is going to force the flash out of Hunty, but there comes Loki with the charm. One more auto would get the stun, but they just can't land it. Hunty will manage to survive, gets a nice pullback onto Rigor Mortis. Loki looking for that Orb of Deception, but doesn't manage to grab it. So everyone in mid lane will somehow walk away from that.
That's exactly. It's so funny because I was just bringing up by attempting to play off the flashless Garen because of when teams typically recall in these higher echelons of play for grub contests, that the players across the map are going to be walking towards mid and top and grubs, and with a flashless Garen under tower with a Skarner that can travel through walls, this is definitely an easy angle to 3 or 4 man dive the flashless Garen, but we have a skirmish going on in the jungle.
Yeah, nice little charm from Loki is going to deny that Ishtal impact from Hunter Wolf, so Skarner gets to walk away from that one. Worm Jones has rotated down. There are 4 members of Infamous here, so I can't imagine Excessive Wrath continuing to fight this. So it looks like everybody is going to walk away. And the nice thing about working here on the Titan Broadcast 74 is we have pro comps here working with us for the entirety of this regular season. We don't have the specific sponsorship as this stream is not monetized, but hey, shout out to pro comps. They've been a great sponsor for us for the entirety of our time here at Titan, and they've been absolutely wonderful. And the best thing about it is they give us a draft score for each game. So if you want to have a guess at who you think won this draft according to pro comps, I'd love to throw that to you.
As I think we mentioned in our commentary of the draft, I would favor XSVW's draft, but by throwing it to me, perhaps I might be, proven wrong, or not necessarily proven wrong, but contrasted by pro comp's perspective.
Yeah, let's see what Pro Comps has to say. As the objective trade is going to be started up here, Excessive Wrath is going to go ahead, take that Grub camp, and Infamous will end up taking that Dragon. And it's very close, but it is slightly Excessive Wrath favor. I believe just around 51 to 52% there. So close in terms of draft score. I think not as much of a lead as we're expecting them to have.
Yeah, I expect to be bigger, but however, to shout out Pro Comps as well. I do a lot of the draft prep and the scouting for our team down there in the lower echelons of play in Divinity, and I have been a subscriber of ProComps for probably years, but I did not. I just have, it's a great tool. I'm glad that you guys are sponsored by them.
Yeah, always love to see them popping up on our streams. Level 6s are starting to get hit here across the board. We see Loki and Worm Jones for Infamous, as well as Zinkara and Hunties, which means Zinkara, I think, is going to be a little bit more aggressive in the trade backs now. Having that Dominus means that you're feeling a little bit more confident to step up and be aggressive into this Garen.
Yes, like Gragas, less so. Garen is more gated by, strictly items when it comes to crit and attack speed with the way his E works. Renekton and Gragas more so by CDR. Once they get more and more of these. Oh, hold on, we have an ult popped.
Yeah, Zinkara wants to take this trade back. Worm Jones is going to pop the Ignite, but Zinkara just happy to take the 1v1. First blood to the Croc in the top.
Yeah, he let him stack Conqueror faster and then just soaked the Renekton W and then just laid into him. Wait, hold on. No. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, this is just a replay of what we saw before. And yeah, like you said, the Conqueror stack from Zinkara means that even inside the minion wave, it just didn't end up mattering.
Oh, we have another engage
on the bottom side now. Kraydog is going to jump away. Hunter Wolf did already use that Impale, so no kills given over off of that, but flash burned away from Worm Jones. So at the very least, a summoner taken for Excessive Wrath.
Which isn't nothing, which is not nothing. However, it is nothing if it's not capitalized on.
Speaking of capitalization, Loki looking to capitalize on the charm as there was a kill down on the bottom side as well. Chaos finds Kraydog on the dive. Loki is going to find Hunty, but on that bottom side dive, Chaos is going to pick up that kill. Everybody manages to get out as well. So a pretty big deal for Excessive Wrath here with the scaling composition, winning it out in the early game.
Yeah, that's exactly what, Ari Vi want to do. In a mobile mid laner with no flash, you're just sending the ults on cooldown. But here is the replay for the bot lane dive we missed.
Yeah, it was just a very well executed dive. Everybody tanking up the turrets on a decent amount as they're supposed to. Nobody getting too low, and they had Melee on the back just in case somebody got too low. But again, just very well executed.
That is where I thought XSVW is going to do to the Garen with without the flash on that grub timer. However, it was more of a skirmish mid that ended up playing out, which technically bailed the Garen out of not having flash. But that was, like I said, a really well executed dive, in and out, 1 kill, done.
Is Worm Jones invading currently? I see him up there in the blue side for Excessive Wrath. I can't tell if he's taking camps or if he's just getting vision or maybe playing for the proxy as I see him now move to the wave.
Yep, that's a Garen
gameplay, all right.
That's a Garen gameplay right there. Oh, got solo killed in my lane. Well, worst case scenario, I can just proxy.
I can simply choose to not interact with you anymore, and now I get to play the game, and you just have to wait for the minions to hit your tower.
Worm Jones the third is a tier 3 subscriber, it seems, to the Bowson Law. Next up, game 2, AP Jax.
Maybe a Scion here and there, potentially, as Rigor Mortis is going to get away with that blue buff steal as grubs are going to spawn up. Smite used by the Vi, but it's on the 15-second cooldown, so should have it back up. And we see Hunter looking for potential contest up there for the grubs. Is going to actually just smite away one of them, so gets to that all-important 4 mark, and I think is now just happy to walk out.
The 4 mark, yes. However, I do believe that because they were there late.
Rigor Mortis is going to be forced to use that Vault Breaker out. Kraydog tanks up that Spiral of the Despair. Nice charm from Loki. He's going to land on the Zinkara and stop the engage on a Kraydog. So they get their Smite steal and look to engage a fight as well. Rigor Mortis starting up that Raptor camp, but I don't think that's too wise for you, Vi. That's Feet of Warfare over to Excessive Wrath.
Yeah, this is it's a lot easier to execute. Oh, another charm. Nope, didn't pan out. But regardless, Vi might be up a couple CS. However, Skarner with Heartsteel.
Oh, Ishtal Impact. Nice charm from Loki is going to deny that one away. So no dive comes through. Loki good on these charms today.
Yeah, he has been sending these charms, and they have been finding their marks. That he is just on point tonight. That was super important, though, for them to smite out that first grub, regardless if you're getting 4 or not. If you are the team that is losing early game, which is, however, XSVW with the scaling comp is not. You take that feed away possibility by denying 1 grub.
6 grub not even picked up. Neither of these teams wanted to go back to the scene of the crime as Chaos and Worm Jones are looking to trade, but with Rigor Mortis in the area, barrier on the Jinx means that she will just end up falling to Worm Jones on the Ashe. Nicely executed there by the infamous jungle and AD carry.
That is just, that's ego. That's just, you get a little bit caught in the motions. You don't have a ward in your tri-bush. You just didn't respect enemy team's pick comp for what it is, and you got punished for it.
I do also want to say it's kind of surprising to see Chaos with the barrier. I understand that Melio gives you a free cleanse, and, maybe he ends up building Mikhail's later in the game, so you get a second one, but in the early game, in situations like that, where Melio is roaming and you're on your own, it feels like that's a situation where cleanse is almost necessary.
Oh, we might have a steal coming in.
Actually looking for the smite. It is going to be taken by Rigor Mortis, but now the Skarner stuck in the pit is going to get crowd controlled out. Gets a nice impale off. Will end up picking up one. He's going to stay alive for way longer than he should. Will end up falling eventually as Worm Jones, and now Loki with that Spirit Rush over the wall. Gets the true damage back into Willie. Picks up the kill and dashes right back out. Excellent Ahri play from Loki.
Ultimately, that's true. Excellent play, but that is still Dragon secured for INF. And that is overall a general positive trade, kill-wise, for INF, who was down gold early. Here's the... Yeah, we got the replay playing up right now. Oh, man.
Yeah, it was a decent attempt at a steal. It got down to, I think, a couple hundred there in terms of the health bar, but Rigor Mortis just there on the smites, did not want to lose like they lost the grub, and then... Yeah, Loki just with some excellent charms and dashes around again.
And Hunty just almost barely misses, just barely trading 2 for 2 there on kills for that last Hoi snipe on the Braum. But looking at top lane, we have the Cleaver, which, like I mentioned earlier, this is 1 for armor pen, and 2, you can stack Cleaver very quickly with Renekton W, the way the auto attack system works. But also it's CDR, it's health, it's combat power, and it combos very well with that kind of Sterix.
For however long Black Cleaver has been in the game, it just feels like it has been the Renekton item. He gets that item first, and it's just like, oh, well, he's hit his power spike. He's got, like you said, the health, the AD, the cooldown reduction, everything that he could want, alongside that armor pen just to make him even more effective.
It just like, Aurelia hit Vamp Scepter, full build, that's it.
Full build Aurelia. She got her one item. It's over. Well, we tried.
That's it. You're a control mage playing into an Aurelia mid. She has Vamp Scepter. She's full build. Oh, whoops. She got Bork. That's late game build. We're done. The game's over. But yeah,
it's the difference between 5 and 6 items. The Vamp Scepter versus the Bork.
It's true. You know what? Polled the chat. Level 18 Aurelia, single Vamp Scepter, lands everything versus a level 18 mage. Who wins? Just saying.
I mean, that's Loki eating a lot of damage there from that Quay QE. Severing Bolt is not going to find its mark. Now potential counter engage, but Hunter Wolf is in the area. 3v2 as Loki will just chomp down on the everything freezes for a second there in the mid lane as Hunter Wolf lands a nice impale but gets stunned up in kind. Willie is here for the healing, but I don't think you want to be here anymore. Loki has another dash, doesn't manage to land the Q, but the charm comes through. It's a rampage now for the Ahri in mid.
You said it's a rampage. This pick comp is harder to execute. There is a reason Pro Drafts gave it to the generically easier to execute comp from the blue side. However, the hands diff cannot be doubted. Loki is showing up tonight.
Chaos. Buddy. Arrow's gonna land. Jinx is gonna pop that berry. Teleport down from Zankara, but I think it might just be too little too late as Chaos is gonna fall. Rigor Mortis gets that last auto off, and yeah, Zankara, you're here. That's fantastic. Actually has Dominus, is going to look to take this 1v3. I don't know about this one, buddy. That's a lot of crowd control. Does get a big heal off with that Cold Meek, but will get cut down by the arrows from the Ashe.
Yeah, this is just from the first play, what you mentioned, Chaos not having cleanse, from that first catch out from the Ashe arrow to now under his own tower again to the follow-up TP from the Renekton. This is just XSVW not doing what I said to do from draft, which is let INF come to you, stack members, outplay them, let them outplay themselves. They're just not respecting their opponent. And this
again, I think the barrier loss is just such a big deal, as that really is Jinx's survivability. And when you get hit by the Ashe arrow and you don't have cleanse, I think you kind of just have to accept it. And yeah, maybe Zankara is calling like, hey, I'm going to TP in here and save you, but at this point in the game, TP takes so long. It's done channeling way after she's already dead. And then Zankara decides to try and ego this, and I just don't know about that.
Yep. The question is, where is Melio? Is this justified that Chaos was there, or is he abandoned by his team? We can't know what the comms are. We can't know what the plan is. But there's a disconnect here. We just don't know where it is.
Yeah, it feels like Willie is often roaming to try and support the rest of the team and keep up with this death ball pick composition that Infamous have. But when you do that, you leave your Jinx alone, and sometimes the enemy team notices that. And when your Jinx is left alone, she can die very easily.
That is 100% correct. And yet, just like again, Loki landing these charms, charm after charm after charm. Bai's already down here. Let's see if this pans out.
Willie's here this time, has that cozy campfire for Chaos there, a nice bit of extra movement speed as well, keeping Chaos safe. So everybody will manage to walk away from that play, but it does give Infamous priority on this dragon, getting to soul point for themselves if they manage to take this.
I am just so impressed with INF and how they're playing this comp, how they're playing this game. They showed up tonight, doing the prep in the hour I had for this, looking at INF's games last week versus XSVW's games. XSVW went, oh, it's
Whoa,
a
what
steal!
What a steal! Chaos
is
from over the wall!
Chaos
He's gonna
redeeming
deny
himself.
Soul point. I didn't even think it was going to be happening. I was not fully prepared for it. I was like, yeah, we see Jinx Rockets all the time. They never get the steal, but it's the one time you don't expect it. It comes through.
The unexpected non-sneaky W, but Jinx ult instead, which had to be nerfed for this specific interaction for happening too many times in pro play for Riot to go, we would like to not see this anymore. And it still happened.
I'd like to see it less at the very least. Junglers should be able to outsmite that.
Yep.
So it sounds like we're about to get a replay on that it just feels like Rigor Mortis should have had this, but didn't have the vision cleared. So Chaos was watching this the whole time.
Smite is up. Smite is up. Oh, early smite.
Oh, smited E down to 600, and the Jinx ult comes through and says thank you very much. And speaking of thank you very much, Worm Ghost is going to say thank you for that kill onto Willie, and now without the cleanse, there goes Chaos. Revenge for Infamous. They may not get the dragon, but they'll take a clean dive.
That is exactly right. They will get the clean dive. However, it's what is Chaos not respecting his opponent, what they can do with their pick comp. Rigor Mortis is on the team that is very ahead, and that didn't do the proper prep, didn't like I said, sweep the pit, and early smited, and he got punished for it.
Yeah, this game seems to be a lot of Team A makes a play, Team B makes the punish, and Team B comes out ahead as Hunty, on the wrong side of the map here, is going to take a couple of turret shots, does have that QW movement speed, has that Sprouting Despair now to try and slow down Rigor Mortis, but a beautiful charm over the wall, max distance, Loki, making it happen for the Infamous squad.
So Loki is Ahri, Loki is Syndra. Ahri was available, Ahri was picked, and Loki is making it worth it.
Hunter looking for an engage here. Is going to hit the Impale just onto Kraydog. The Braum fairly tanky with this Unbreakable, so he's going to start to walk out here. Manages to just make his way out, and a nice little disengage there from Infamous. Not going too aggressive. I like that.
I would like to see gold on lanes if possible. However, we are at 20 minutes. The reason why I ask is we're 20 minutes now. As we start to approach 2 items, we look at the Skarner stacks, we look at the scaling. We might be 6,000 gold ahead right now. However, different comps need different gold breakpoints to do different things.
Look at that mid lane lead.
Yep, that is just astronomical.
2.5, 2.4k in the lead for this Ahri. And again, when you're playing the pick comp, you want your carries to be ahead. And yeah, Ashe is kind of a carry. She's utility. She's providing a lot of CC, but she also does do damage. But the Ahri really is the key centerpiece to this composition. Garen will side lane. He'll be fine on his own.
Yep.
He'll try and 1v1 Renekton. Maybe he'll win. Doesn't really matter. He's going to take towers, and that's what he's here for. Ahri is the centerpiece. If she's not doing damage, your pick comp is not able to thrive.
100%. Garen knows he's behind. Garen knows what his job is. It's to pull people from the rest of the map. It's to pull this pick comp apart, even if he has to send a few deaths, into the death column. However, I do like Ahri's build. She did not go Maligma with Horizon Focus. She went the job security build, double burn build. She will be relevant with Ionian Boots as well. This is virtually impossible to mess up as a build and as a character.
I'm a much bigger fan of not the Horizon Focus, but the Luden's Companion build for the Ahri. I do like the cooldown boots, as I feel like flat magic pen especially is kind of wasted on Ahri with a lot of her damage coming out of that true damage from the Q. It's not entirely wasted. Most of her damage still is magic, but a big centerpiece of your damage like Shadow Flame, I think, is a really big item for her as well.
Yes, especially when like I said, they get lower. Shadow Flame lets W crit. It lets all the little procs from her ult crit as well. Oh, we have a
future
impale.
damage crit as Kraydog is going to get CC'd up here. Takes a lot of damage, but just has the flash over the wall. Mercury Tread's putting in work for the Braum, and Kraydog somehow has been in these situations over and over again and has survived way more often than he should.
This is just, gosh, I don't see. The vision is good too. They're not. Usually you can tell when a team might feel that they've lost the game already and they stop really contesting vision. Oh, we have a...
Loki has that Spirit Rush, so we'll be able to just get out here. I always forget that even without the Malignance, the Ahri ulti is still on such a short cooldown. It's really not a problem as holding on to these 2 extra charges, maybe looking for a charm here, lands it on to Hunter. Worm Jones with the spin is going to force the flash out of the Skarner, bouncing Kara over the wall with that dominance, getting a lot of work done, but a beautiful Glacial Fissure from Kraydog is going to set up Infamous for success. Can they keep that going, though? It's a nice 2-man passive proc from the Hui. He's going to force out Rigor Mortis and Loki, and suddenly the rest of Infamous are on the run. Everybody with low health bars walking away. That Super Mega Death Rocket is so close. Flash forced out of Loki from that Severing Bolt. What's the cooldown on that Mega Death Rocket? Does Chaos have the aim? I see some recalls being channeled. Jinx should be able to find a kill here, but I think just holding on to it as we're going to get into a replay of exactly what happened with that with the fight in skirmish before.
Yeah, they had just blown Ahri ult, and they attempted to follow up on another skirmish. Hunter is very tanky right now, but Ahri lands another sick charm. Oh my gosh, but the team fighting, they're in the choke.
Yeah, it looks like we've got a fight here on live as Worm Jones is trying to get in. It's a smite through from Hunter Wolf. So again, Dragon denied, but Infamous, they say, damned be the Dragons. We're here for the kills. A triple over to Loki. They're going to look to make it a quadra. Now Worm Jones is going to steal that one away. But a clean ace for Infamous. Dragon be damned. They're winning this game number 1.
We went into the replay before we saw the end of the when the Ahri flashed away from the Severing Bolt. We didn't know whose tempo is when, who decided to back, how quickly they backed, but it clearly did not seem like that was XSVW's tempo for that play, and they forced it, and they got punished for it.
Yeah, and Infamous taking full advantage of this are going to take a few turrets as well. A big lead for them, now ballooning to over 10,000, and despite the fact that they haven't hit that soul point at all yet, I don't think they're feeling too uncomfortable with their state in the game.
That was another thing I brought up, or was wanted to bring up before that fight happened, was that when we hit the 20-minute mark, we kind of saw inklings of it in that skirmish before the Dragon fight we just watched. They fought in that choke. Jinx was allowed to build lethal tempo. Skarner was very hard to kill. You could see what's going to happen in the next 10-15 minutes if they don't abjectly lose the game to a 10,000 gold lead. Oh, here, thank you, thank you, production,
yeah,
getting
back to the replay of what we saw before. Yeah, Zenkar just gets deleted by that Devassi Justice, and then from there, it feels like Infamous just, even though they are scattered, they don't feel too much in threat. It feels like the cooldowns are just not fully there for excessive wrath.
So we have red backing here. We have blue stained clear. So it's blue's tempo, but they get collapsed on.
Yeah, just with Worm Jones and Kraydog on the bottom, and then TP in from Loki as well. And again, a good smite from Hunter, making the smites happen for the squad at the very least, but just not able to make enough happen.
Even though blue is there, Loki with a great TP and just collapses. Oh.
Uh-oh, Hunter Wolf didn't manage to get the engage off, and now Infamous will strike back and strike back hard. It's 2 clean kills, one of them on the jungler. No chance to be outsmited this time, as Chaos doesn't have that super mega death rocket, which means Infamous going to feel very comfortable to turn on to the Baron.
Look, at the end of the day, Garen was 0-1-0. However, because Loki has just absolutely sent a legacy game this game, he now is 3-1-3 because he's playing through his team with his team. He's started to group again. and now he is just
And
solid
there
in the
goes
game.
Chaos. Yeah, that's Garen gameplay, all
Yep.
right. Baron is going to be taken now by Infamous as, yeah, it doesn't matter how far behind Garen gets in the
Yep.
early game, whatever happens. He's hit level 15. He's going to start playing the game.
Yep.
He's got his 2.5 items. Phantom Ditzer in inventory means that if you're an AD carry, you're not getting away from this guy.
I would very early say that Loki is the absolute MVP of this game.
Oh, 100%.
He brought Garen out of the pits of despair into, he's now 3 items at 27 minutes and will just stat check
Infinity Edge.
the Jinx at any point in this game. He is now 100%
This Garen build
relevant
makes
as
me
well.
so mad. Garen is a great thematic champion as like an anti-magic tank. He fits the theme of Demacia very well. But then you see the items he builds, and half the time it's like a 100% crit build, and it doesn't parse in my head. He gets so tanky for free and just gets to build Infinity Edge Phantom Dancer every game. It just doesn't feel right.
Yeah, no, I 100% agree. Nasus passive, Garen passive, Annie. There are champions in this game that Riot recognizes there is a large skill floor to reach for new players, years to even remotely have a chance in this game. So there needs to be champions like Garen, like Nasus, like Annie,
Like Yuumi.
like Yuumi, that just are good for virtually no reason.
Otacon was also taken off the back of that Baron buff as Wormjo's now in trouble, but does have that revive back, so it's just going to start withdrawing as the rest of the team still taking advantage of that Baron buff and forcing down this mid lane. Hunty did use that ultimate onto Wormjo, so Spider Despair is down, but the Ashe is very low. A nice 2-minute impale, but it's just the withdraws. They're going to be able to punish the overstay from Infamous, but they're going to get a couple hundred gold with their name, and they still end up losing that mid tower and are still getting pushed in on the top side.
Yeah, people overlook how much gold you do give over when you get withdrawn. You don't, lose. You don't get a death. However, if you don't trade hard objectives for it, if you don't trade, soft power for hard power, you just give over gold for free. But they did trade soft power for hard power, and they took those 2 towers mid and bot. And with Dragon coming up, that is, another soul point fight.
Yeah, another soul point fight. Maybe Infamous can land the smite this time as Hunter Wolf is on the top side of the map, so won't be able to be on the right side of the map for a steal this time around.
This is the virtue of the withdraws. Regardless of what just happened, you are already there on the map.
Great Hug playing the block just in case there's a Jinx in mid looking for a rocket. I do also want to say a big deal with the withdraws. You can see it on Worm Jones here. Didn't lose the Baron buff. So normally when you die, you lose out on that Baron buff. You end up giving over that extra gold to shut down whatever. But when you withdraw, it's not a death. You don't get it in your stats. You don't give over shutdown. You don't give over your buffs. Nothing else changes with you. You just take 15 seconds and pop back up in your base.
Actually, funny, I've never seen withdraw on someone who's already purchased a GA before. I don't know how that works. You obviously probably just withdraw and you don't pop a GA, right?
I'm trying to think about when the last time I've seen someone buy GA is. I feel like that item has fallen so out of favor.
Yeah, it's been very long since I've seen a GA purchase. But I thought that was a funny interaction.
Yeah, back in the day, I think I remember people on Reddit calling that the AD carry job security item because even if you end up dying in a team fight, you'll end up coming back and maybe you die again, but instead of 2 deaths, you only have 1, so it makes your stats look better.
Makes the stats look. See, that's what we all play for. Stonks stats go up. They just go up.
I like seeing number go bigger. I don't care what number it is. I like seeing number go high. Yep. So when I look at Infamous and I see 14,000 gold in their favor, I see a very high number, and I'm very happy with that.
Yeah, no, they absolutely, like I said, Loki. Everyone here, if you look at the games from last week across both these teams, Infamous came to play last week, and they're here showing up to play today, and they are hands diffing XS. Oh, you are 100% correct. XSVW.
I told you.
Left and right.
Try code is
my
absolute
freaking gosh.
Excessive Wrath. We're calling them Excessive Wrath.
You know what? That's right. Infamous Excessive Wrath. That's it. I'm giving it up. Tricode is done.
Tricodes are gone as we got a siege down here on the bottom side.
I'm going Wrath and Infamous. I'm dropping Excessive. It's just Wrath and Infamous.
You could even say Excessive is excessive in their name.
That is a very, applause.
Thank you. I try. As the inhibitor will go down on the bottom side, so Infamous will pick that one up, and they're going to look for 2 here, and I don't think this is even greedy. There's just such a wallet difference that even if Excessive tries to get an engage in, as there's going to be a charm landing, and there goes Hunty. Goodbye, away. Loki goes legendary. 10-0 now. Will eventually pick up that death as it's going to be turned around as Jinx is going to start to reset, but Worm Jones free hitting in the meantime. We forgot about the Ashe. She still does plenty of damage. Tanky frontline Chaos will not be able to be kept alive long enough. Worm Jones with that lethal tempo stacked is putting out the arrows. A double kill over to the Ashe.
Does Ashe have lethal? Does Ashe have Bork? That's the question here. With lethal tempo,
I don't
she had so much sustain. Or does she have Bloodline? No, no Bork.
I think she must have Bloodline plus that Doran's blade. It's just she just can't die.
She couldn't die.
Hunter Wolf is gonna get in here to try and do some work, but without the Impale up, it's gonna now finally be available. But just goes in to try and clear the wave, doesn't manage to get it, and Infamous, in a very mostly clean fashion, are going to end up taking game number 1.
I just absolutely am so impressed with Loki, Rigor Mortis, and Worm Jones's mental capacity to proxy on Garen, prescribing to Bowson's Law, and then Worm, all across the board, hand stiff, macro diff. This was just, it might not have been a bloodbath, but it was a bloodbath.
Yeah, a rough one for Excessive Wrath, to be sure, but we did mention in the draft that we liked Excessive's better. We thought it was a more well-rounded composition, and we thought that we liked the ability to just play a simple game in front-to-back scale. But it turns out it doesn't matter if your opponent can hands diff you with the pick comp. This is what we were saying. They have the more skill-expressive composition. They have the comp that requires a much higher level of play, but if you have that level of play, it's so hard to beat.
It's kind of like Samira bot lane. You should not play Samira if you are just not abjectly better than your opponent, and same maybe even Nyla. But if you are that champion, Katarina, Nyla, these 1v9 Riven carry type champions will just absolutely, and then put them across the entire roster here, and it just hands diff all around. XSVW, Excessive Wrath, did not respect their opponent. Jinx didn't go cleanse and was abandoned under her tower multiple times and was left to the wolves, essentially.
It felt like almost the opposite of what I expected to see out of this draft. It felt like Excessive Wrath had a decent lead in the early game. They had positions where they were outplaying dives, managing to find their way around the map and making good macro plays. But then the mid to late game starts to hit, and then suddenly Infamous has a lead. They're making better macro decisions. They're making fights better. And yeah, they lost a couple of objectives here and there, which maybe Rigor Mortis is going to get a stern talking to by the coach. But other than that, the gameplay was clean from them. And it's kind of, again, the opposite of what you'd expect from pick comp versus scaling.
Also, I 100% agree with you. Well, to point out, I think let's go do a callback for early when I pointed out that Garen didn't have TP, which means late game, mid game, Renekton obviously has prior for team fights, even if you're even, or you can make a play from behind, if you flank, turn a gold deficit into a gold neutral or gold lead. There was at least 2 or 3 ego TPs from Zinkara that game that just absolutely, why'd you pick TP at all if we're going to play it like this? We should just got Ignite.
Unfortunate turn of events there for Excessive Wrath, looking to mount a comeback here in game number 2. But until we get to that point, we're going to hop into a short break. So thank you all for joining us, and we will be right back when we get into that draft for game number 2 of Infamous versus Excessive Wrath. See you there. Welcome back, everybody. We are jumping in here to begin game number 2 between Infamous and Excessive Wrath. I'm still pretty, that's still 74, and what a walloping of game number 1. Infamous had a lead past, like, I think 10 minutes, and just did not let go of it.
Yeah, like I said, Loki, everyone on that team came to play. Hand stiffed them with the harder X2 comp, and just, like you said, never let their foot off the gas. And boy, howdy, was that a decisive victory.
Yeah, decisive victory for sure. Now it's going to be on Excessive Wrath if they can make a comeback in game number 2, or if Infamous is going to take the series 2-0. But that all starts with the draft. As I think I heard from our producer, we're pretty much ready to just jump straight into it.
Yeah, if that's the case, let's just go. Let's send it.
Let's send it. Let's see what the teams are prepping for this time. Excessive Wrath is moving over to the red side now, losing having side select. So changing up something here for the draft, as the bands so far so same, 1 for 1 with that Varus from Infamous.
Yeah, they're just not going to give Chaos that Varus. Same thing, like you said, Twitch gone too. Generally with Fearless though, you know, either you give them the power pick and just it's gone if they win with it, or you keep the bands the same virtually the entire, unless you're playing chicken with a power pick for B1.
You can see those Fearless picks down on the bottom of your screen. Anything that we saw in the last game will not be available this time around. But again, so far, so same. Varus is Xin Zhao, and if it's going to remain the same, it'll be a Corki here from Infamous, and then Excessive Wrath will ban away the, what was it last time, the Wukong that we saw. As no, Infamous actually are going to be the ones to ban away the Riven in first round this time, so not wanting Excessive Wrath to have that counter pick on that second or third pick.
Yeah, that was the week one, the previous week strategy against Wrath as well. Their opponent banned Riven as well. Wrath banning Loki's remaining, in my opinion, power pick in the Syndra, so he has to go deeper into the pool now that Hui, Syndra, and Ari are off the table. With the Cassante B1 is a pretty stock standard for the upper echelons of play now that Skarner is gone. Or Ezreal.
Yeah, it does also mean that Ambessa is going to be able to over for Zangara, and if there's any champion that's going to be sort of Riven light, people used to say it was Aatrox, but I think nowadays it's almost certainly Ambessa with the amount of dashes, the auto attack empowerment. It just feels very Riven-esque.
100%, you're absolutely correct, especially someone who is highly indexed into what I would categorize Zankara into Riven main, if not Riven one-trick pony territory. But that is what happened last week. They got they had to play Comfort. They lost game 1, decided to send the Ambessa game 2, won it out, and so let's see if it's going to pay off again for Zankara.
Yeah, Infamous are going to grab Tristana and Viego here, so already a very heavy AD composition for Infamous. So if Excessive Wrath has any sort of tankier jungler left in the pool, I'd love to see that grabbed up here. Maybe a support to try and unbalance the matchups, as they are going to grab the Nautilus, which means that they should be free to ban away some of the supports. I imagine things like Rel or Rakan, maybe even probably not Enchanters when you have the Nautilus, but yeah, just some other engages. I imagine Rel or Rakan are probably off the board.
As far as I am aware, you cannot buffer the Nautilus Q because it's 2 parts for Tristana, but I also do not think it's mid lane flex. I do not think Loki plays AD carry mids. I think he is a strictly control mage player. As far as I could see from OP.GG, I did not see the previous series. So I think this is for sure down there in the bot lane, rather than...
It might be, but Infamous is banning away some of these mid lane picks, so that tells me that it's possibly a mid lane Tristana, or at the very least, Infamous is threatening that it's going to be the mid lane Tristana.
It would be interesting. It would be a nice little shakeup to perhaps Loki's standard pool that he's used to, or people are used to seeing him on. Ooh, okay, we got both of these teams get Aurora banned against them pretty consistently. It looks like Wrath got their Aurora on R4. It did not throw any protection bans for it against Loki.
Sitting counterpick for the jungle, I think, is a little surprising. I love this Taric pick, though. When you see Nautilus, Kai'Sa, and Bessa, even if the Aurora wasn't there, Taric is already fantastic. And now you have Aurora on top of that. All these champions that just want to press forward, want to move in, want to keep going. It's a great pick, but you called it out. Loki, not exactly the AD carry mid player. They banned away a couple of mages to try and flex it, but Orianna is going to be the comfort pick. And with this composition, I really like the Orianna.
Yeah, no, I don't like the Wukong, though, unless you're attempting to, I don't know, because it's the hands thing, though, right? If the Taric presses ult at the opportune moment, Wrath's team comp falls apart. Your Wukong in melee range, up Taric ult, all you're doing is knocking them up, not dealing damage to them. But it's comfort for Rigor Mortis, as far as I'm aware. It's also flexed between Zenkara as well. So I believe, like I said, game 2 from last week, they went comfort, and they're going to send it. We'll see if it pays off for them again.
Yeah, we're going to have to see how this works. If we're going to jump onto the Rift here, it's game number 2. Infamous with the lead. Excessive Wrath, backs against the wall. Can they send it to game 3, or is Infamous just going to take a clean 2-0 this week?
Look, these are much more, I would say, balanced teams in terms of execution and comfort than the strict, contrast between the strategies for both teams game 1. I hope that Wrath, pulls their resolve and doesn't just get 2-0'd. I'd love to see a game 3, especially with Zenkara pointing out, the wonder pick from his previous week, game 2, the Mbessa. But we'll see. See how this game pans out.
Yeah, double Adorned Shield for these top laners, Conqueror versus Grasp, all very standard stuff, as we'll get a little bit of good manners in the mid lane. Loki and Hunter Wolf just staring each other down, having a little dance competition. I always think Wukong's dance is so silly, especially now with his that passive thing with Wukong where he will automatically stand still and stop every idle animation when you hit stop on him to make the warrior trickster work a little bit better. It just makes him look so goofy when he's walking around and just like right click S-ing constantly.
As someone, if someone for some reason would ever decide to watch my random games, I am no matter what champion I'm playing, I just spam S key, and whenever I play Wukong, it is funny as heck to see it happen. But this is one thing I talk about. One of the advantages to Aurora, even Orianna in traditional matchups, is even if you're trading spell for spell, you will out-trade someone with extended auto attack trades because of the passives. But both of these champions their passives are indexed into incentivizing attacks, auto attacks, multiple auto attacks in the same trade. So I'm interested to see how this pans out for Loki or Hunty.
I am a little surprised to see the phase rush from Loki. I'm a big proponent of Comet plus the W max on Orianna. I think that build is so strong in the early and mid game and scales decently well as well. But before we get too deep into the build paths, as Zenkara and Wordgnomes are going to trade up here, we do have the Pro Comps draft diff again. And I have to say, I do really like Excessive Wrath's comp this time around, but I can't predict against Taric. I feel like he's just so good into these engage comps. I have to give it to Infamous.
Yeah, I think like I said, if this Taric can press ult at the opportune moment, I think this is 100% INF, which demonstrated a hands diff from game 1. But I think Kai'Sa Knot is just so easy to execute, and Tristana cannot easily buffer Nautilus's kit if it's used in the right way, that I could see XSVW pulling this out. So maybe 50-51-49. Oh, that's so
yeah,
close.
Just about 51-7, 48-2, as Hunter Wolf is getting an invade here on Rigor Mortis. Is going to force the Viego off of that red buff. I like seeing this aggressive pathing from Wukong, taking advantage of that extra armor in the early game.
Yeah, no, especially there is one advantage, right? Versus sending a melee teamfighting champion into Taric is you have a preferred jungle matchup in the passive is the armor stacking from the Wukong for invades with Nautilus as well. But you get one reset on Viego, and it's just lights out.
Yeah, the resets are really the big deal for this champion. If you get the reset off, you're very happy. If you don't, suddenly he's a lot less of a champion than you would expect him to be. And Hunter Wolf taking advantage of the early game, I think, is really good. Already has that first Scuttle Crab, is going to go take the second one, got the red buff invade. So already the Wukong coming out to a screaming lead.
This is what I wanted to see, though, for the Viego, is a lot of them are higher echelons of play, going Collector, second item. Kraken Collector is just a strong 2-item spike for that champion. The more defensive option like Vayne top or Vayne mid is if you can go Trinity Force first, if you want a little more effective HP in utility. But it looks like he is going for the Kraken.
Yeah, which I can't hate. It's either going to be Kraken or Blade of the Rune King. Either way, I think it's a good call. Viego's oftentimes in pro play are going for more of the bruiser heavy builds and just playing for the resets like the Spear of Shojin, the Sterax, as Hook is going to land onto Kratos. Ignite down from the Nautilus as well. They really wanted to try and burn through that health bar, but just didn't have the burst. I also wanted to point out in the bottom lane while we're talking about it, there's 2 exhausts down here. One on Chaos on the Kai'Sa and one on Kratos on the Taric. And I think both of them are good calls.
Yeah, like I said, there's from the call from game 1, right? Either Conqueror or Phase Rush, one for early game pressure, one for scaling. Like that Garen on the bot lane inhibitor lives if he has Phase Rush, he can just proc it and dip out instantly. Um, Exhaust is a much better scaling option in this particular matchup for Kai'Sa versus Tristana. Say Plasma clips Tristana, Kai'Sa can just ult proactively, um, and the exhaust forces the ult, or because of the exhaust, the Tristana will ult. By virtue of having that exhaust, it scales as the game goes on, and just allows that Kai'Sa to be a significant threat on the Tristana as it goes on, even though Rihanna ult as well.
Willie looks for the hook on a Worm Jones. A nice little sidestep there from the Tristana, not moving in a straight line. Love to see it. Worm Jones continuing to just walk away as Willie's walking forward, but without the Aftershock proc, this Nautilus is very, very squishy. The exhaust is now going to finally come through, but Worm Jones is going to hop through one more auto. His first blood over to the Tristana. Kraydog getting very, very low, so Chaos will manage to get that kill at the very least, make it a 1-for-1 trade. And without First Blood giving the extra gold off anymore, I think the trade is actually slightly in favor of Excessive Wrath.
Yeah, but let alone who it favors, there wasn't. The timing is so crazy if you play that back.
The gold is still dead even.
Yeah, that is just watching the junglers just meet like ships passing the night through the tri-bush. The fact that Wrath had the pink ward in there, and then Wukong goes in first, it's just I apologize. I thought we were gonna get something mid. But yeah, I don't know. That could have played out so many different ways, but I think INF just dropped the ball a little bit.
Oh, difficult dive to go for from Worm Jones. Does have that ulti, but Zinkara already popped the public execution and said, thanks for the free gold, Worm Jones. I'll be taking that.
But we just passed the pink ward again in try. We don't clear. It's just, but but yeah, Mbessa just the Mbessa version of Bombud the Cassante under the tower.
Oh wait, Worm Jones didn't even have ulti. I thought he had it here, but he didn't end up using it.
He just got bombed. He unironically just got bombed.
You gotta respect the ability of a champion to keep you under tower for more than an extra shot, and it just means it's a lot of free damage, and Mbessa's happy to take advantage of that.
Tower 1-0, Mbessa 0-1.
Mbessa gets the assist. Huge win there from tower.
And it is unfortunately legally not possible for the tower to get the kill, so it is by default.
I want to see an April Fool's match in League again, where towers can just pick up kill credit if they get the last hit.
There was a funny Reddit thread about that, giving them like power ups.
Eating a lot of damage here. Doesn't have that all out, but does have Kraydog in the back pocket, so very good defensively. Hunter Wolf is here. Rigor Mortis is also here, but not level 6 on the Viego yet, as Zinkara now gets in, but a nice 2-minute shockwave from Loki. It's 4v2. Can they manage to shut someone down and give Rigor Mortis the reset? They'll finally get one, but now with Hunty and Willie on the way, 2v2 is suddenly a little bit more difficult. Rigor Mortis still not level 60 yet. Nice burst there from Hunty. Gets the ultimate down between worlds. Loki so low, Zinkara should just have a dash up in just about a second. Does manage to get stunned up, though, as Hunty's going to pick up the kill, so Feet of Warfare over to Excessive Wrath, but now Worm Jones goes all out, picks up Zinkara. Hunty with the damage should be able to pick it up. In the meantime, bottom side, Worm Jones wins the 1v1 versus Chaos. A double kill over to the Aurora. Infamous on the run, but it's an even trade at the end of the day. It's 4 for 4 for both sides.
4 for 4, 13.6 to 13.6 gold. As we get a replay for something we just missed while the other action was happening. Oh, yep, just
it's Lethal Tempo versus Lethal Tempo.
Yep. No, I don't think Kai'Sa had exhaust, but Tristana had barrier.
That was the difference maker.
Yep. And the Tristana knew that, and Chaos didn't respect that. That's another Chaos just not respecting his opponent from like game 1. And I don't know, that's just the story of the games, both games so far.
You have to be able to respect your opponent, but that topside scrap was messy. That is for sure. Excessive Wrath did end up picking up that Feat of Warfare at the end of the day, so they get at least 1 point towards those upgraded boots. But again, you're giving Orianna more time to scale. Viego got his resets off there, and while the gold went into the pockets of Hunty, which I think Excessive Wrath is very happy about, gold is going into Worm Jones's pocket on this Tristana, which Infamous is more than happy enough to take in recompense.
100%. Tristana on a Yun Tal spike before 9 minutes, while Kai'Sa's on a, I don't know, I guess garage sale version.
Looking towards garage sale towards Kraken, I think.
Yeah, just it's just so deadly. We have
The
an
Wolf is
invade
gonna
going on here, though.
Yeah. Start this invade here again, but I don't think they're confident enough to stay for the red buff this time around. Maybe looking for a turnaround as this control ward still in this brush, and Kraydog, yeah, I think you're just dead for this one, buddy. Not even gonna bother using the exhaust or the ultimate says, hey, I'm caught out of position. Fair enough. GG's, take it.
But
It's all
that's so
yours.
odd because his tower is close. He knew where they were the whole time on the red buff, and he knew that which direction they had to come from, and he just didn't respect his opponents. We have an Aurora W
Speaking
forward.
of respect, Rigor Mortis is going to use that ultimate defensively, just gets the heck out of dodge. But now Hunty and Willie are going to look for the dive. Worm Jones gets tagged by that hook.
Oh, the
and the Root
shutdown.
Chaos gets the free shutdown gold. Donated over by the team. And now suddenly Kaisa sitting on 3-0, sitting pretty here in the bottom side.
That's actually so much more impactful than I think they realize because one, that's experience loss. Two, that's gold loss from these minions, and that's plates that shut down. Yeah, look at that. From a Yontal spike pre 9 minutes to now to nearly 700 gold deficit. This Kaisa is online with exhaust as the game goes on versus this Tristana.
Feeling much more comfortable now, I think, after picking up that shutdown. It should mean a completed Kraken Slayer, get her started towards that on-hit build. It's going to be a big deal for her as Rigor Mortis is going to spot out Zenkara here. A nice little dash, but caught by the stun. Rigor Mortis just not letting them get over the wall, but even when you do, you've got friends here. Shockwave dashed in via Worm Jones, guarantees the kill over to Rigor Mortis.
This is just the story of both these games. They just these players are just something the RFK junior brainworm has taken over their brains. And they're just doing these absolutely insane things on non-tempo, on non-vision, on non-power plays where the members of their team are, and it's just costing their team sanity and gold.
Yeah, the gold lead now slightly in favor of Excessive Wrath, just about 1,000, a little bit less ahead, as it is going to be engaged on the bottom side here. Nice stun from Kraydog, lines up, and Chaos uses that killer instinct to try and stay alive, flashes away from the jump, but the jump is not the threat, the autos are. Worm Jones again punishing Chaos in the 2v1.
He almost outplayed it too, but that is what I was about to talk about before Zenkara sent it down, sprinted a quick gold infusion. Quick skirmish here with the Nautilus ult. Flash.
Yeah, looking for it. Loki doesn't have the flash. Now the Between Worlds means that Hunty is just going to take the free one killing spree over to the mid laner of Excessive Wrath.
But that is noticing the difference between Taric and Nautilus, how they're playing these fights, how we got that shutdown on the Kaisa from the Nautilus and the Roam and the Invade. The Taric is a much more nuanced pick than Nautilus, and requires a lot more hands and brain than something as monolithic.
There's a reason why I permaban Nautilus in my ranked games, because every autofill support picks Nautilus, and it's the easiest champion to pilot in the world.
It's so true. It's so true, and we're seeing it. I have not seen the only thing so far that Kraydog has done that you pick this combination for is you put the kit on Tristana as she jumps forward, and you just get the stun, and it's just such a powerful even level 2 all in with the jump in and the stun. And that happened under tower. Chaos almost outplayed it though. Just barely didn't get it.
Anybody who can reposition your stun is Hello Willie. Actually caught out on the bottom side. We didn't manage to catch it. Rigor Mortis happy to take the body of that Nautilus now. And it feels like Infamous is again getting into that position we saw in game number 1 of just playing the map slightly better, as Hunty now in trouble. Shockwave landed, and now the Aurora has to try and dodge it, but the flash response from Loki showing the hands diff again. It may not be Ari, but they're looking strong.
You went from it was 18-6 to 16.5k gold in favor of Wrath to now just back and forth across both of these teams. Just the brainworm taking over, like I said, just Hunty just going in for zero reason and just getting paid, getting cost for it.
Yeah, replay of what happened on the top side here. Zenkara managed to get very, very low, but thanks to that Eclipse Shield, stayed alive for way longer than they had any right to.
Yeah, it keeps going.
Eventually, Worm Jones just sends him on the bottom side of it. We've got a skirmish on the bottom side here, as that first turret was taken by Orianna, but the fight being here taken by Infamous. Rigor Mortis picks up the Kaisa body, lands a lot of that damage in. Flash into the hook from Rigor Mortis, gets the Heartbreaker off, but it's not onto the Nautilus. Worm Jones will finally pick up the kill, but Hunter Wolf will get revenge at the very least. Will eventually fall here as Worm Jones picks up another kill. 7-1 now for the Tristana.
This is most likely going to be If you pan to the gold in her pocket, with this tower going down,
That's
this feels
gotta
like
be
it could be
Infinity Edge.
yeah, this is IE Yuntal's gold technically before 15 minutes.
2,600. Yeah,
That's
wow.
IE right there in base.
Yeah,
That
Infinity
is
Edge is less than 4,000 gold.
yep, that is.
1,300 plus 2,600. Quick maths.
See, I can't read nor do maths. That's why you were here to compliment my illiterate self.
We
Oh
got the
no,
dash on dash battle up here on the top side
oh
as Worm Jones does have the all out. Doesn't manage to pull Zinkara fast enough though, so Zinkara gets away from the turret. Kazante still all out the way. Very dangerous target. That W does so much damage. The knockup denied by Zinkara. Now the TP in from Hunty. And Worm Jones now the one on the run as Chaos is here rotating. He's got the Dead Man's Play movement speed though. Does he actually end up getting caught? The slow should land. One more proc. The Scorch from Hunty will lock down the Kazante.
if you replay that, you'll see from that first Cassante W is less than, it's so close to the wall. He just barely missed the ability. You're good. It just absolutely, oh, so close to getting that W into the wall, into the ult, into the cooldown reset, which would have completely annihilated the Ambessa, preventing the collapse from exit W. But that's just a game of inches right there.
Yeah, it's every sport is a game of inches, and it's true enough in esports as well. I think the Dead Man's first item rush from Worm Jones as well is such an interesting choice. You don't normally see such a utility item being the first choice, but I think when you're dealing with Ambessa, who's dashing constantly, when you have Wukong and Kaisa, who are all high mobility champions, the extra movement speed can be very helpful.
Yeah, this is all based on, well, one, I can't remember who it is, but there's a guy on Twitter that's famous for doing these builds. He's the innovator of the Tank Akali build that Cat evolved, and
Don't
skirmish.
remind me as Hunter Wolf is going to look for the engage. We got that Cosmic Radiance in though from Kratos. It's going to deny all the damage from the Aurora ulti, and now suddenly Infamous can look to turn it around. Chaos still free firing though, doing a lot of damage on the Kaisa. Gets that killer instinct over the wall and takes out Loki. Rigor Mortis wants to chase the Kaisa down, tries to sidestep that grasping ball, but will eventually get locked down. Rigor Mortis picks that one up. A valiant attempt from XSVW, but not managing to find a win at the end of the day.
That was an absolutely sick killer instinct, and just unfortunate that his team lost the fight in the end anyway. But yeah, no, that's
attempt from Chaos. But here we get a replay of exactly how that fight started. As it just looks like Excessive were happy to just try and pressure the turret.
Look, yeah, he literally just misses E and then just presses ult. That's the entire kit, and then boom, it's done. All damage negated.
Yeah, an incredible Terra Goldie just winning that fight, I feel. As, again, Chaos, a beautiful ultimate over the wall, almost managed to find his way out. If Rigor Mortis didn't have that Heartbreaker, maybe there's a way out for Chaos, but it's the plays like that keep your team in the game. You have to show off that you still have those hands.
He might have virtually been almost irrelevant most of this game, outside of a couple of Tristana jumps with the stun on him, but he pressed Terra Ult one time and got his team a team fight for it.
And that's how you play Taric versus engage comps. You press your ultimate, and if you time it well against the engage, you win the fight.
It's 100% true. It's like you let your opponent come into you, and you let them outplay themselves. It's just, at some point, they're the engage comp. They have to choose to engage. Or what? They drafted these engage tools and then spend the whole game playing for disengage because they've drafted Taric. No, you just wait for them to... It's like tennis. You just loft it back to them, and they'll eventually tire themselves out.
You let them beat on the brick wall long enough as Hunty maybe looking for an engage here. Doesn't manage to land the slow from the weirding. Forced to just walk away for now. As both teams are looking to try and get set up for this dragon, but so far nobody wants to be the one to pull the trigger just yet.
Yep. We're now fighting over mid-prow here as this dragon's up to see what's going to happen here. Another just...
Dog looks for the stun again. Doesn't manage to find it, but Worm Jones has the flank. He's going to force the flash out of Chaos. Rigor Mortis spotted out there by Hunty. Excessive Wrath managing to stay together, but the shockwave lands on a 3. The ultimate comes out from Aurora, but it's just not doing enough damage. Rigor Mortis has that Terra ulti on him. He cannot die. Worm Jones now gets to go godlike, and the Tristana continues to free fire. A nice weirding slow from Hunty, but Worm Jones is happy to hop in. Forces the flash out of Willie. Hunter will steal on the other side, looking to just try and distract, keep them away from the rest of the team, but they just don't have the cooldowns to look for a re-engage.
Yep, that was just another cosmetic Bluetooth, zoning Taric stun, and then just into a team fight, presses R, and that's the one team fight. with a fantastic organic shockwave. Cassante going all out almost immediately, and then having to flash away.
Are we
But
trying
then
to contest this? No. Yeah, Excessive Wrath are going to choose to walk away as Worm Jones is going to walk at them very quickly. Forces them to just back off. Dragon spawns up here. Infamous gets their second dragon of the game, and we do actually get the Ruinous Otacon this game. It's been bloody enough that we get the dark one instead of the fiery one. I'm just so happy that they finally fixed it for pro play, that we can get Ruinous in games like this.
We get the flowers. We get the field of flowers. Okay, and then that's it. We get no.
And we get what is probably one of the most overpowered buffs in the entire game. 25% increase on all active objective monster buffs. That means Grubs. That means Rift Herald. That means Baron. That means all of your dragons are empowered. If Excessive Wrath gets their hands on this and it bumps up their 6 Grubs, they are suddenly going to be eating turrets alive for breakfast if they can, get their hands on them.
Yeah, if they can just, send damage into the towers, then for sure. But people underestimate how important the flowers are even before Otacon spawns. It is a wave of experience. It is adaptive AP AD. It is so important to be on your gardening mode.
For free.
Yep. You see a triple flower? I don't care if there's a kill near you. You get the triple flower.
You make sure that the opponent does not get that triple flower, especially.
That triple flower is the new game.
Infamous, he's going to be forcing Excessive out of their top side. Hunter Wolf trying to keep the wave away from the turret, but Infamous really want to look for this one. Trade Dog is positioning for it, but they're gonna think better of it. They're gonna walk away and say, "Hey, we're the disengage comp. They're the engage comp. If they want to engage, that's fine. We just need to not overforce it."
Yep. No, like I said, whoever starts this Otacon first, even like casters say all the time across these regions, if you're doing mechanics properly, like it's a WoW raid, it just destroys your health bar. It debuffs your stats. It is bait. This buff, this boss is bait unless you are in such an overwhelming advantage.
Willie, potentially caught out, is going to use that depth charge on to the Viego, but the stun is going to land. There's the Taric stun. Worm Jones goes legendary.
We landed it. We landed a Taric stun. It's it. The Nautilus is dead. We have the heart. Yep, Viego. This is easy collapse. This is going to be tower. Can Wukong get out of here? They spotted the Mbessa. That's 5 head.
One in trouble, but Hunter looking to counteract the dive instead.
We're split.
Gar on the other side of your screen trying to run away, but those Tristana bombs do so much damage. That Infinity Edge putting in the work. Public execution not even going to be able to go off. Flash forward for the stun from Kraydog. The shockwave has to be flashed away by Hunter Wolf. Stale. A massive win for Infamous on the top side. It's going to net them this turret and maybe even the Otacon as well.
Yeah, the Tristana is so far ahead and the enemy is so far behind that she was able to opt for the less damage. If it was more even, she might have to go LDR here, but by virtue of the wallet diff being so far ahead, she can just go in even more luxury offensive item, which is just the Flicker Blades to have more Qs, more E's, more cooldowns, and we're just going to destroy these towers.
Yeah, who needs Grubs when you just have a Tristana who's already at 3 items at 23 minutes into the game?
This is almost untenable. This is just... I don't know how you deal with this Tristana. You'd have to... If Wrath had the TP incoming...
TP. Hunty wants to look for him. Lands the weirding onto Loki, but the rest of the team not in position to follow up. And they know that Cosmic Radiance is still up and available. It just it makes you think about engaging as Between Worlds is going to be used. Loki continues to just get slowed up. Cosmic Radiance is finally going to come down. Public execution lands on one of the targets that doesn't have the Cosmic Radiance buff, but they just still don't die. Kratos will finally go down as Willie now wants to keep the fight going. Flashes the ulti on to Rigor Mortis, but it's actually Worm Jones who TPs in and just gets slaughtered on the back line. And suddenly Infamous are falling apart. And Ruinous Otacon is going to go over to Excessive Wrath.
That was a moment where Hunty decided that this is it. This is the time. We are losing. We are on the back foot. If we do not make a proactive play, we will lose this game slowly. And she TP'd in and just full sent it. And you'll see a Taric ult here that just did absolutely nothing.
Yeah, it's one of those ults that just lands onto 2 members, the minimum amount of members that it can land on if Taric has a link, and it was just finally, I feel like, a good executed fight from Excessive Wrath, but also kind of a misplay from Infamous. It felt like they were disconnected there.
Yeah, they wanted the inhibitor, they saw the TP, they were trying to get out, and it just didn't happen fast enough, and then if they group up for the Terror Cult and then just fold aside to send the fight, you could potentially win it. But I think they were caught between two decisions
Oh, hello,
and got
Loki.
punished for
He's
it.
the one going to get caught. Shockwave onto 2, though Loki tries to use it defensively, but Chaos
Yep.
is just going to lock that one down. Great use of the Killer Instinct to just get that quick pick.
Yep. This is what I was saying about how do you deal with Tristana in this scenario if you are Wrath. Even if you swap the mid laners, say it's a Wukong or Orianna angle for the combination of ults while Baron is going down in the picture-in-picture, you still have the Terror Cult to contend with, even if you have that combination.
No shot they get there in time. This Baron goes down so quickly. Tristana Viego shuts down the subjective. Zankara TP's in. I feel like every top laner TP has just sucked this game.
Yeah.
Worm Jones goes legendary again. A nice little unstoppable there from Worm Jones to not allow that knockup as they're looking to potentially fight this one out, but it's such a risky fight as Willie's starting to get shredded. That bomb doing so much damage. Worm Jones lands the knockback. He's going to get picked up, though, so traded 1-for-1, but now Worm Jones, the other, gets to free fire and jump through the fights. Looks to pick up a couple of resets. It's a double kill over to Rigor Mortis, and now Worm Jones trying to hop through the bombs, land one more auto. Boom goes the dynamite. Ace for Infamous, and they might just look to finish it out.
The funniest thing is we didn't even need to use the Terror Cult.
Crazy.
Like, say you swap Orianna for the Aurora. Both have very strong teamfight ults. You put the ball on the Wukong. Wukong E, W, ult, and then Mbessa ult on top of it. Overall, great team fighting comp. But you still have the Terror Cult to get through. I just think this Terror only has one job, and it's to press ult, and the game literally is decided on if, when, and how he presses that button.
And sometimes the threat of that ulti matters more than the actual cast of the ulti itself. It's such a big dissuader of, hey, we could press our engage buttons, but Tarek has ulti. If he presses it, we're suddenly in trouble. And speaking of in trouble, Rigor Mortis has that Heartbreaker, is going to use it to try and get out defensively. Has the movement speed as well from Loki. Flash over the wall, though. The Wukong does not want to let him escape. Loki now the one on the run. Chaos canceling a couple of autos. Loki's got the movement speed. Now has to be careful. Shockwave not available, so no chance of that burst as Worm Jones now tanking the front line while his junior is going to start hitting on the back line. Goes a legendary again on the Tristana. Worm Jones is going to get dodged out on the knockup, so Willie will be able to walk away. But one slow lands. That should just be all she wrote. Aftershock, though, keeping him alive for longer, but the autos, Tristana just has so much range. You cannot get away from her.
That was funny. That Wukong died from 40% HP on that last auto and bomb detonate alone. Just popped.
Yeah, it turns out Tristana has 14, 15, 16 kills in a game with 4 items. She does a lot of damage. Who'd have thought?
Yeah, this pick, ever since you could go AP Tristana way back in the day, has been a favorite of mid laners. However, Loki's just opted to
engage. They want to find the Aurora. Not even going to give them the opportunity to use that ultimate defensively. And now with the Terror Cult on, there's no chance for excessive wrath to even try and defend their base. Hunter is going to use that ulti defensively to try and pick up anything, but it's just nothing doing. The turrets are the targets. Shockwave onto Tristana just to make sure. Infamous will take a 2-0 victory here in this series.
100% agree. That was a great cast. Oh my gosh, you did amazing. That Loki was the MVP for me, game 1. Worm Jones, Cole. Worm Jones second, third, first, unknown number of Worm Jones.
Too many Worm Joneses.
Yeah.
Pick it up.
Absolute MVP of game 2 for me. The dude put up 42,000 damage that game. The dude was a monster. Hold on,
turns out
28,000 from the Mbessa and Wukong. We have 19,000. He almost did more damage than that's crazy.
He did more damage than the 3 carries combined between Aurora, Mbessa, and Kaisa, which is a ridiculous number to think about.
Yeah.
I think he did a little bit less than that, but we're just gonna give it to him out of respect.
Hold on.
Worm Jones played that game incredibly well.
Do I give flowers or okay? So yes, Worm Jones dealt the damage. Worm Jones is the carry for sure. He pressed the right clicks real well. He pressed the jump real well. Pressed the E real well.
He did right click real well.
He did right click real well, as you can see by the damage charts. But there was 4 or 5 team fights that go so unbelievably different if Cray does not press ult when he presses ult.
Do you know who my MVP is for this game number 2?
Send it. Hit me.
Whoever was in charge of the drafts, because this Tarek pick was inspired on that blue side 4th pick. You see 4 engaged champions out of the members of Excessive Wrath. The Wukong isn't there yet, but you see Mbessi, you see Aurora, you see a Kaisa Nautilus bottom lane. It's such a perfect spot for that Taric to come through. Picked it up in the draft. The support can play it, and by can play it, I mean can press R at the right time.
He did. He
and
did
just
press
makes
R.
it work. He pressed R at the right time. That's the great thing about Taric in the compositions like this. It doesn't matter if you miss your stuns. It doesn't matter if you're linked up on the wrong person. It doesn't matter if you're perfectly stacking your heals to get maximum value in a team fight. If you press R at the right time, you're gonna win the fight.
Yep, and there was, I think, way more. I think there was only a single Taric ult where I'm like, wow, that was a bit silly.
It was the Otacon fight.
Yep, it was the Otacon fight. Every other Taric ult was literally fight winning, and just allowed Worm Jones and everyone else to just right click and press their abilities and deal damage, and then win the game. So okay, do we give it to Worm Jones or do we give it to Cray?
I'm going to give it to Cray for game 2, but overall, I feel like Loki is the series MVP. Had an impressive showing here on the Orianna and an immaculate game on the Ahri in game number 1. Incredible showing here from Infamous. Unfortunately, Excessive Wrath, I believe that's now going to send them to in their group as I check the standings.
They were
fast.
2-3, now they'll be 2-4.
As far as I see in terms of series in the Google Doc, they're 1-5, which is going to send them to 1-6. Yeah, Infamous was 2-3, and now they're going to step to 3-3. I think that might lock Excessive Wrath out of a potential playoff spot, but Infamous maybe still fighting for it there in Group B, as this was our cross-group matchup. But I think that's going to be it from us. Any final words for you, 74?
No, absolutely. Thank you, Britt. You did an amazing job. Thank you, production. Absolutely fantastic, fun experience, and thanks for having me on as backup.
Yeah, thanks for stepping in. Again, we're giving our best wishes to Sater, hoping his voice recovers smoothly. But that is going to be it from us here tonight at Titan Esports here in the Vanquisher League. I've been with Taverdi. That's been 74. Our producer and observer, Sherigan, and that one War Eagle, making sure everything runs as smoothly as possible in the background just for you. Again, we appreciate you all being here, and we will catch you next week. Same time, same place for more Vanquisher action. Have a good night.